the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame, IMSHOF, Class of 2020 Induction and Award Ceremony. I am Ned Dennison, Honoree Class of 2012 from Ireland, and the Chair of the Executive Committee of IMSHOF. This is our first virtual conference due to COVID restrictions and appropriate travel problems. We hope you enjoy and learn from every presentation. Special thanks to those watching live in the early hours of Asia, Oceania. Sorry we needed to pick one time to cover a number of time zones across the globe. The International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame is managed by unpaid volunteers under the umbrella of our parent organization, the International Swimming Hall of Fame, IMSHOF. They host us in a museum in Florida, manage our tax and legal affairs, and much, much more. And tonight, they kindly allow us to present two of their prestigious awards. IMSHOF have named honorees from 1963, now 306 in total, swimmers and contributors, including administrators, media, coaches, crew, organizations, and pilots. Our average of about 5 per year has increased in the last few years with the expansion of the sport. IMSHOF immortalizes the achievements and contributions of those who have distinguished themselves in the sport, defined as open water swimming at distances starting at 10 kilometers and ending beyond what we could ever imagine. This year, we're inducting honorees active in the sport since the 1950s, and 10 of the 12 remain very active. We are truly international. The 37 presenters, inductees, and award winners you will hear from tonight represent 15 countries from around the world. So follow with me, if you will. In the Americas, from Canada to Argentina. In Europe, Middle East, and Africa, from Great Britain down to South Africa, and from Hungary to Egypt. And in Asia, Oceania, from Hong Kong to Australia. For those of you for which English is not your first language, thank you for your patience and understanding tonight. We are getting better. The ceremony booklet and website have local language translations, and our nomination forms are now very structured, making it easier for those who were never comfortable with a long flowing English language nomination. Thank you for joining us, and Melissa Cunningham will explain the structure of the evening. Mel is an honoree, former 25-kilometer world champion, winner of IMSHOF's David Wheeler Award, member of the executive committee, and as the election chair, she's responsible for this entire process from nominations all the way through the ceremony. Thank you very much and enjoy.
Hi, I'm Melissa Cunningham, International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame Honour Swimmer from 2013. I'm also a member of the 5-person executive committee and responsible for the nomination and selection process. I also had the honour of hosting our last induction ceremony in Melbourne, Australia in 2019. Nominations are received on standard forms and vetted for accuracy, ethics, and reality. They are then voted on by the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame Selection Committee. The committee is made up of 58 individuals representing more than 20 countries, spanning multiple decades of experience across all areas of our sport. You can view the process of nominations and selections, and also our nomination forms on our website, which is www.imshof.org. While we're disappointed that we weren't able to hold this ceremony in person this year, we're very excited that technology allows our community to get together and celebrate the amazing achievements of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame Class of 2020. For today's ceremony, each inductee or award winner will be introduced by a member of either the executive committee or a previous inductee. A highlight of the introducer's marathon career will be shown. They will then give a brief overview of the inductee and award winner's marathon career. In several cases, they're either related or very close friends. Inductees into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame receive a green sash, just like this one, but you'll also see that some presenters are wearing a red sash. The red sashes indicate that the wearer is also inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame, which is our parent organisation. At our previous physical ceremonies, they would place the sash around the neck of a new individual inductee and hand out certificates and awards. For this class, we've sent these items to each inductee, but COVID greatly impacted timely delivery of these items. So we will share photos of the class of 2020 wearing their sashes on our website, Facebook, and Instagram pages. Each inductee and award winner will then take a few minutes to thank a few of the key individuals and organisations that greatly helped them succeed and perhaps talk about their favourite memories. If you haven't already, you can download a copy of the ceremony booklet from our website, www.imshof.org. If you'd like to know more about any of our inductees or presenters, you can view their profile on our website. You can select an honoree's name and it takes you to an online biography with links to additional information sources. Here's an example. This is the biography of one of our presenters, Thomas Lertz. You can see the links to his personal website, Open Waterpedia page, and the Long Swims database, plus a description of his career and a German language translation. Keep your eyes and ears open so you don't miss the amazing careers on display today. It's not obvious, but in today's ceremony, we have Guinness Book of World Record holders in other sports, honour swimmers who then coach disabled swimmers across the English Channel, honour administrators who also set marathon records, a Minister of Sport, and a President of a National Swimming Federation. Between the inductees and award winners, we'll remember individual honorees and key members of the honour organisations who passed away since our last ceremony. They will be missed and forever be part of our sport's history. Finally, Ned will return for a very short wrap-up and thank you. During today's event, I'll be looking after our Instagram account and we would love for you to share photos of you watching the ceremony from wherever you are in the world. Tag your photos using these two hashtags and then we'll share these photos, and after the event we'll add them to our Facebook page and website. If you don't have Instagram, feel free to email your photos to info@imshof.org. So it's with great honour we present the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame Class of 2020.
Hi everybody, my name is Ricardo Rato, contributor and administrator honoree from the class of 2017 and member of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame Executive Committee. Today, I'm going to introduce you Cameron Bellamy, honor swimmer for the class of 2020. Cameron Bellamy is one of the toughest swimmers of the world. I think he's made of steel. I think his tough mind could drive him to extraordinary swims, and that definitely drove him into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame as the first honoree from Africa, excluding Egypt. He has completed 2 of the longest ever solo sea swims and was the 11th swimmer to complete the Ocean 7. 2012 English Channel, 2015 Catalina Channel and Strait of Gibraltar. 2016 North Channel, 2017 Kauai Channel, and finally 2018 Tsugaru Channel and Cook Strait. As the longest sea solo swims, in 2018 around Barbados, 19 kilometers in 40 hours and 46 minutes. He completed this swim 2 months after his first attempt was aborted, after 66 kilometers and 26 hours swam. This was ratified as unassisted by Marathon Swimming Federation and the Barbados Swimming Federation. The Marathon Swimming Federation lists it as at 24th of September 2019 as one of the 13th longest current neutral swim of all time. In September 2019, Barbados to Santa Lucia, 150 kilometers in incredible 56 hours and 26 minutes. This was ratified by the Barbados Amateur Swimming Association. He wore a non-buoyant Stinger suit for 3 hours during the first night and less than 1 hour at the second night during the peak jellyfish. Cameron is also accomplished marathoner in 2 other sports, rowing and cycling. He rowed 6,620 kilometers in 2014 on a six-person team, setting 2 Guinness records as longest and fastest across Indian Ocean from Australia to Africa. Incredible. 3 long cycling adventures, the longest 6,000 kilometers solo and unassisted from Beijing to India and along the Silk Road, then down to the southern tip of India in 4 months. For all of these reasons, Cameron Bellamy is one of honorees today.
Thank you very much, Ricardo, for that introduction. I think I would just like to start off my thank yous with a brief history of my swimming career. It's been relatively short, so this won't take very long. So I started swimming about 10 years ago, and my first swim that I was going to do was going to be the English Channel, but I'd never really swum before that. And I pretty much gave myself 8 months and to learn how to swim and then get across. And I remember my first swim lesson was with a guy called Ray Gibbs in Canary Wharf in London, which is just close to where I used to work. And he had a endless swimming pool. And I remember like getting in the pool for the first time, doing a bit of a swim, stopping and looking up at him and him looking at me and shaking his head and saying, "Man, you swim really badly. And you've got a lot of work to do." And to be honest, I got a lot of thanks I need to send Ray's way, because he really did teach me like a really good long distance freestyle technique. And I still do his drills every time I'm in the pool. And I pretty much did his drills every day until I did the English Channel. So I was going to say thanks to Ray, first of all. After I did finish the English Channel, which was, I just managed to do it by the skin of my teeth, getting into France when the currents were pushing me away. After that swim, I didn't do too much swimming for the next 2 years. I had a couple of rowing projects in the works. But then after hearing about the Ocean 7 from Steve Manitonis created, I went to do the Straits of Gibraltar. And I was very fortunate when I was there to meet a guy called Steve Walker and Amy Gubza. And we actually ended up doing a swim together because just because of the way they kind of pushed out all of our swims together. And so I ended up swimming with Steve and Amy. And even during the swim, like me and Steve were talking about work, and we ended up finishing the swim. I went back to London, but about 6 months later, and a number of calls later, I ended up flying over to San Francisco to live and to work with Steve. Another big thanks I got to give is to Steve Walker, because he's been an amazing mentor in my my swimming life, but also just in business life and just general life. And also, he was a very important factor in my swimming career because he introduced me to the South End Rowing Club. And I'm sure a lot of people on this who are listening know about the South End Rowing Club, and amazing institution. It's been the best club, let alone swimming club I've ever been a part of. And it really kind of laid the foundation in terms of, for me at least, to be able to finish the Ocean 7 in terms of the training that I did, and in terms of the people that I met there, and just the inspiration that I had from being a member of that club. And that eventually led me to swimming the 2 big Barbados swims that I've done. So I got a lot of thanks for the South End Rowing Club. In terms of obviously family and friends, my mother and brother have been amazing. They've helped me on some really big swims, especially the North Channel and the English Channel, and my last swim from Barbados to St. Lucia, where I had my mother was waiting for me. And it was just great having her there to share that special moment with me. But also, friends around the world, and especially people in Barbados. I've had such an amazing time in Barbados the last 3 years trying to do swims there. And just to put in perspective, when I tried to swim around Barbados the second time, the time that I made it, I had 34 people actively helping me get around the island, and in support boats on doing logistics on the ground. So just big thanks to people in Barbados for kind of taking me on as almost a fellow citizen over there. It was very nice, like early in the week, reading the list of previous honorees, and I'd like to make a special thank you to a few people: Antonio Aguileras, Steve Manitonis, Ned Dennison, Lewis Pugh. These guys have really had a great impact on me in my swimming career, especially recently. There's also 2 extra ones that have especially given me some great advice and pushed me in the recent past, and that's Chloe McCardle and Sarah Thomas, two obviously phenomenal swimmers that really push the boundaries of what's possible. And kind of finally, I'd like to just say congrats to everybody that's being honored tonight. It's obviously amazing, and I'm very honored to share this experience with some amazing swimmers and administrators, the likes of Peter Stoichov, Marcia Cleveland, just to name two. But I'd really like to emphasize one person in particular. And it's just an amazing honor being inducted in the same class as him, and that's Walter Ponish. I've thought about swimming Cuba, Florida a lot, and I almost managed to attempt it a couple of years ago in 2019. However, 3 weeks before that attempt was thwarted by some US politics, and in particular the Trump administration, who wouldn't let me go. And so obviously I've done a lot of reading about the Cuba, Florida swim, and I've obviously read Walter's story, and I think what he did in the 70s at age 65 is absolutely incredible and inspiring, and it kind of inspires me into the day whenever I think about him. Lastly, I'd just like to say thank you to the just open water swimming in general. I only started swimming very late in my career, but it's had such a profound effect on my life, and it's kind of changed my mindset in terms of how I live my life. You know, 2 years ago when I swam for 56 hours, you can't just do that. You got to change your mindset to be able to do something like that. And so it's had an amazing effect on me. And so obviously, yeah, I'm very grateful to the sport. And lastly, I just want to say thank you to the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. This is an incredible honor, and I've loved my swimming career so far. And this really just this really just tops it off. And I'm very happy about this, being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Very happy. Also, just lastly, to everybody watching this at home, thank you for everything you do for the sport.
Claudio Blit from Argentina, and I got the pleasure to introduce Damian Brown from my country as an honored marathon swimmer for the Hall of Fame. I know Damian since 1995 or 1996, as he was a young swimmer, teenager, and remember always his anxious of knowledge for swimming, asking every one of the old-time swimmers like me how we swim, how we training, and with his dad and his mom on the beach, always doing this sport as a beautiful family. Damian was in the 2002 the first swimmer to swim in the World Cup, and from Argentina for many years. But then when FINA changed to Grand Prix and also ultramarathon swim later, he swam and he won most of the major events in the world, like Capri Napoli 2 times, Santa Fe Coronda 1 time, and also the remarkable 2018 when he crossed the Rio de la Plata, or the River Plate, between Uruguay and Buenos Aires, doing a great record of 9 hours 6 minutes. Was the first swimmers also to represent the country in the Olympics in 2008 in Beijing. Many other world championships for 8 times during between 2003 and 2011, representing always the country. Later, he married Esther Núñez, an international marathon swimmer of Hall of Fame. She's from Spain. They got a boy and a daughter, beautiful family too, and many competitions he made. But I would like to say a word about the human side of Damian. He is very friendly. He He always is looking after any other swimmer problem. He's always sharing all this experience, and that's make him not only honor swimmer. It's, I would like to say the last word as an honor friend. Thank you, Damian.
Dear friends, first of all, I would like to thank Claudio for his words. He was always very special for my life. On the beginning, when I did not know anything about these sports, he always had the precise word. I was a little boy dreaming of getting a little bit of what he had achieved. In my memory, I can remember my first crossing on the Traversée du Lac Saint-Jean on 2002. I had slept very little that night from my nerves, and Claudio told me just before starting that if I had been lying down for 8 hours, everything was going to be fine. And it was fine, cold but fine. When I look back, I can't believe how nice was this journey. Like everyone, with many defeats and some victories, but with a lot of unforgettable battles in the water. And above all, with a bag in which I have my best friends, those suffered and vibrated with me in each competition. Thanks to all those who helped me and guided me, teaching me the way. When I had started, I told my former coach, Rodolfo, I would love to win one day Santa Fe Coronda and maybe Capri Nápoles. And after a lot of hard work, those dreams and many others came true. Thanks a lot to his work and to Pilou, that is not with us anymore, but that I am sure that he's somewhere happy for this moment. And to Fred Vernou, that took me out of my comfort zone and made me swim a lot till the title in 2013. Thanks to my parents and my sister especially, and to all my family and very close friends for supporting me during all my career, especially for being always with me when the things were not like I was wondering. And finally to Esther, we had the opportunity to build our dreams together, first in the open water swimming and now with a beautiful family with Gala and Paul, our best race ever. Thanks to the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame for this recognition, which is an immense joy for me.
And I am so pleased to be here for the 2020 International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It is my pleasure to introduce to you honor swimmer, my friend and aqua sister, Marsha Cleveland from the United States. I've known Marsha for over 30 years, and we met back in the late 1980s in Manhattan. I was studying, and somebody introduced me to the Red Tide Masters Swim Club, and that's where I first met Marsha. Come to find out, we probably swam against each other when we were in Connecticut as young ladies, and a lot of us were starting to do open water swimming, and this is before the internet, so it was all hearsay. We did Marsha, I think, organized most of these swims. I have no idea because I was just a follower at that time. And it was a very interesting group of swimmers, but most of us were starting to do open water swimming, but you'd had to go up to Connecticut to do it. I graduated and I came back to Connecticut, but I kept in touch with Marsha, and we were on the same road to our paths to go to the English Channel. But as I said, this was before the internet, so there was a lot of phone calls and a lot of letters, and Marsha and I still respond a lot through mail. And if you know Marsha, she is one of the most organized people that I have ever met. Thank goodness, because I wasn't the most organized person. And she was so welcoming to give you the information that you needed. And that started back in the 1994, we swam. We did our 10-hour, at that time, you had to do a 10-hour swim to qualify for the English Channel. So we went up to Lake Sunapee in New Hampshire, and Mark was part, and my family was all part of the crew. Wow, we did a lot of bonding that day, but we got through it, and we just kept going to other swims. But after the swim in England, our first English Channel crossing, I did it first. Marcia went in about a month later, or a few weeks later. I thought we were all done with swimming, but I don't know about Marcia, but we were wrong. I know I was wrong because we kept swimming. But Marcia put together Silver Solo, and this book has helped so many swimmers before the internet and even now. And thank you, Marcia. And I will be saying this for a lot of other swimmers. You've helped them get through a lot of difficult organizations. And this is Marcia. Marcia is just she's just a wealth of information, and she loves to help people. This behind me is a collage I made of Marcia. Through the years, I've taken a lot of pictures, and I have to say, with Marcia, she organized the swim back in 2003, and it was great to look back at all these pictures with this relay team. We went out over to the England for a double relay crossing, and I met, she opened up my world and so many other people's world to friends around the United States. That because we were from the United States, it was 4-6 America team, and it was just a great time. She also helped me learn a lot about, and I've never told her this, but I never had been on the boat for a swim, so I got to actually see people in the channel. She helped Morris Finkelstein, Dr. Morris, swim the next day, and it was just mind-boggling to me. But Marcia, through the years, you've done all the swims that that are out there, but I have to say, you have helped so many swimmers reach their dreams. It's very emotional because you also opened up your family to us. And Julia and Sam, we watched them grow up and become wonderful young adults. You've allowed us to be uncles and aunts and brothers and sisters to you and Mark. I just want to welcome you to the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. You very, very well deserved. There's so many people around the world that you have touched, and we just want to say welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, Marcy. We have known each other for a long, long time. I am so appreciative for your friendship, enthusiasm, and ability to inspire others. It is an honor to have you introduce me. You are awesome. When Ned Dennison called me in October 2019, I didn't hear the phone ring the first time because I was hanging up my swim gear and repacking my bag for tomorrow's swim. When Ned phoned back, rattling off a few of my swimming stats, all I could utter was, "Oh my God." It was a nice, validating surprise. When I was 8 or 9, I remember visiting the hall in Fort Lauderdale and was in awe of the type of honorees. I knew I wasn't the type of swimmer who would ever be inducted, but I kept on swimming for the next 5 decades. After college, when I was living in New York in the late 1980s, I was introduced to open water swimming and Marcy McDonald. I immediately loved the freedom and variety it affords, being enveloped by a wide open space without boundaries. Then, because I was doing something I love, one day Ned calls and I'm given this speech. Swimming has always been a part of my life, on good days and bad, for better or worse. It's taught me a lot of life's lessons: patience, kindness, humility. I've been offered many opportunities to model grace and compassion, whether it's sharing my feeds during a long race with another swimmer who has none, or waiting to touch a finish line so we tie, remember that race? Or being calm with someone who is panicking or freaking out or sure they're going to freeze to death. Since I've been in all these situations. Swimming has also helped me to focus, keep me dreaming, and work towards goals. When Mark and I had our children, Julia and Sam, I was able to do some swims when they were younger. But when they were in middle school and high school, I put my swims on hold, yet knowing I still had some more in me. When Julia went to college in 2016, I wanted to see if I could get back into top form, and I guess I did. Someone once asked, "What was your most impactful swim?" And I replied, "The English Channel, because I made it." I trained for a long time, really not knowing what to expect. And like Marcy said, in 1994, there was no internet and very few books on the topic. When I finally got to England and met all these great people, some of them were even swimmers, I realized I could actually do the swim. And then I did it. It opened up my eyes to what was possible. Cara braçada vale la pena. It was that swim that prompted me to write Dover Solo. Originally, I wrote this book as a memoir so the waves wouldn't get any higher and the water wouldn't get any colder. I didn't realize it would become such a valuable source in the open water community. Knowing I've helped so many people has been one of the true rewards of my swimming career. But I've dealt with a lot of tough days when I feel like giving up, or I'm just not that into it. But I kept taking one more stroke and telling myself, yes, you can. Then eventually all the strokes turn a dream into a reality, and I smile that smile. One of my most fun swims was when I set the record around Manhattan. Here I was hovering over the Harlem River at 2:00 in the morning, thinking, at this hour, some people don't voluntarily jump into this water. And then it was go time. Everything went so well with that swim, including the Staten Island ferry stopping at the Battery and tooting its horn to let me pass. The swim that has asked the most of me so far was the North Channel, 15 hours in 13-degree water. That's 53 for all you Yanks. Jellies everywhere, lots of swells, a brutal current at the end just when I didn't need it. I was completely spent and I still had about 4 hours to swim. When I finally crawled up on the beach in Scotland, I knew I'd made it, yet I never considered stopping till I finished. I kept hearing Marcy and Liz saying over and over, just keep swimming. My boat captain, Quentin Nelson, said to me afterwards, I'll remember your swim for a long time. That took grit. There are a lot of people I want to acknowledge. First, I want to thank my husband, Mark Green, for all the love and support he has given me. Mark, I wouldn't be here today without you. Thank you. Julia and Sam, you mean the world to us. I want to thank my coaches, Mark Newcomb and Walter Rothenheber, who instilled in me self-discipline and a strong work ethic at an early age. And later in New York, it was my coach, Foster De Jesus, who made me realize what was possible and helped me to get there. I also want to give a shout out to my family and friends all over the world for your encouragement and help. To my MERS sisters, Marcy McDonald, Liz Fry, Nora Toledano, Stephanie Henry, Chris Layton, and Richard Clifford. I hope you know how much you mean to me. And thank you to all my crew and supporters on both land and sea. When we get to the finish line, it's always a team victory. I'd like to close by recognizing the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. It's an honor to be elected by my peers into this esteemed hall. Finally, a big thank you goes to all of you watching. Your time is precious. I'm looking forward to many more swims for all of us. May we continue to inspire future generations. I'm planning to just keep swimming. Thank you.
Nasser El Shazdi from Egypt. I am an honor swimmer in the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame in its class of 1979. I am the son of Nabil El Shazdi, who won the same award 2020. Today, I'm so happy and I'm so proud with my dad. Finally, he got this award after waiting for a long time. Nabil has the same, of course, nationality. He is Egyptian. Actually, I can say he is my dad. He is my coach. He is my model. He is my hero. Nabil is one of the best swimmer in Egypt with Abu Hif. Actually, Nabil started his swimming career 1954, and that was for about 4 or 5 years as a national swimmer. And then he started his international swimming marathon from 1961 until 1971. During this period, Nabil have won many races. 5 times he won Capri Napoli. One of them he broke the world record. Nabil swam in Canada, USA. He swam Lake St. Joe, and he won Lake St. Joe in 1964. He won 24 hours Latuk with Abu Hif. Also, he won Ohrid in Yugoslavia. He won Suez Canal International Marathon and Alexandria International Marathon in Egypt. Nabil has a long way with open water swimming. After that, Nabil, he retired in 1971, as I told you. Then he started as the coach for the Egyptian swimming team, Egyptian national, of course, swimming team. He coached so many swimmers, and so many Egyptian swimmers start with him, myself, also Magdi Manzour, Baher Abdelhamid, Usama Rashad, Mohammed El Misiri, also Mohammed Maroof, and for the ladies, he coached Shadia Raghib, he coached Omnia Tantawi, Mona Ali Hussein. On the other side, he was coaching so many disabled swimmers. He succeeded to cross the channel with them. Actually, they are more than 7-8 disabled swimmer. He succeeded with them to swim the channel with the Egyptian. With me, we had a world record in the English Channel 1977. We have 2 successful swim. We can say Nabil, he was one of the fastest swimmer during this period. The longest swim he swam, I think, Ray Coronda in Argentina, or Hernandez Barana also. He's one of the longest swim he did, 80 kilometers with the current. On the same time, the fastest swim he did, Capri Napoli. The first time he won any World Championship was 1961. After he stopped coaching swimmers, he moved to another sport, which was an Egyptian underwater, as I told you, diving and life-saving federation. He was one of the people who established this federation in 1983. He was a professional scuba diving, as he was in the Navy, and that was his job. He's proud with his old coaches. Hassan Abdurrahim was coaching Nabil El Shazdi, Mr. Hassan Abu Bakr, Mr. Zurkani, General Gweni, General Sabri. All these people make something good in Nabil's life. On the same time, which is I'm proud with my father. You know, he was my father and my mom on the same time. My mom, she passed away when I was 5 years old. My dad didn't marry until I got graduation from my university. This is a short briefing about Nabil. I would like to thank all people from International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame, of course, to give my dad this award.
Okay, dear swimming family, a great honor to be inducted as an honor swimmer 2020. It's extra special because my son Nasser Shazli, honor swimmer 1979, who is my introducer to the Hall of Fame. I am proud that Egypt had 10 honors members. It means that Egypt had long history in long distance swimming. In my competitions, I compete with most of the honor swimmers, like Abu Hif, Julio Travaglio, Herman Williamson, which was called Flying Dutchman, Diana Nayad, Cliff Lumsden, Carlos Larriera from Argentina, Rejan Lacourcier from Canada. I have been born to be a waterman. I compete in most of the water sports, swimming, rowing, sailing, diving was my favorite. It was my favorite sport. It's most important marathon in my life. Capri Naples, 1962, with a new record, not set for 10 years. A Traversée Internationale, the Lac Saint Jean, 1964, first place. 24 hours La Touque, 1965, winner with Abu Hif, we swam for 24 hours. Lake Ontario, 1965, it was 10 miles. It was the hardest in my life because it was a very cold water in that time. Long distance swimming learned me to be patient and give me a repetition. And I handled my disappointment by coming out of and reached the success. I would like to thank all people who helped me, my family, coaches, administrators. Finally, I would like to thank International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame and looking forward to visit Florida to meet you after disaster of COVID-19 and have a gala dinner with you. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless all the swimmers all over the world.
My name is Elizabeth Fry, honor swimmer, 2014, United States of America. It is my privilege to introduce Brian Finley, PhD, as honor administrator in the class of 2020 for his lifetime contributions to the sport of marathon swimming. Brian's involvement with swim organizations began in the late 1950s as a teenager in Coventry, England. Brian helped start the Warwickshire Long Distance Swimming Association and also served for many years on the board of directors for the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame honor organization, the British Long Distance Swimming Association. When his professional career brought him to Canada, Brian's commitment to the sport crossed over to North America, where Brian joined the board of Solo Swims of Ontario and served in various roles. For over 60 years, Brian has provided valuable support on swim safety, the utilization of technology to digitize marathon swim information, and research on cold water acclimation and core body temperature measurements. I had the pleasure of meeting Brian on my Lake Huron swim when Brian provided critical ground support during my swim from Port Sanuilek, Michigan to Port Franks, Ontario. After tracking my swim through the night and next day, Brian, who resides in Port Frank, met me at the finish along with a large crowd and reporters. On the beach, I was presented with a painting by Jeffrey Red George, a local artist and a friend of Brian's. It was a very special moment for me. Prior to Lake Ontario, I was fortunate to experience firsthand the importance of Brian's devotion regarding core body temperature as part of the safety protocol for Lake Ontario. Brian, working with HQ Inc., provided the core temp sensor I ingested to transmit my internal core temperature throughout my swim. I can see how measuring and tracking core body temperature may provide vital safety information, especially as open water swimmers continue to pursue longer swims or push swimming longer in colder waters. We are thankful for Brian for his research and dedication to gain a better understanding of the physical impact of extreme cold and heat for open water swimmers, astronauts, soldiers, and firefighters. I am just one of over 30 International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame honor swimmers and contributors that Brian has worked with. I am certain he has helped hundreds of others to achieve their individual goals. From his first administrative role in the late 1950s to present day, where Brian continues to provide administration and serves as a safety officer for Swim Masters of Solo Swim of Ontario, few have made the commitment to the sport of open water swimming as Brian Finley has, and our community is lucky to have his passionate heart and inquisitive brain. In closing my introduction, I would also like to add that Brian Finley was also a premier swimmer, especially in the breaststroke events, where several of his records are still standing today. I now present Brian Finley as honor administrator in the class of 2020 to the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be introduced by Elizabeth Fry. I have such respect for her swimming and unassuming, untiring promotion of our sport and its swimmers. My life has involved many activities, both as a swimmer and organizer, and has benefited from the influences of so many people. In the early 1960s, founding members of the British Long Distance Swimming Association had a great influence on me, particularly with their enthusiastic support of others. Current long-serving and hard-working BLDSA Secretary, Vince Klassen, is a prime example of the BLDSA enthusiasm and dedication that drew me into the sport. Bringing the last man or woman home was always a common motto when attending those early events. Those early BLDSA influences included honorees John Slater, Trevor Smith, Jody Forsberg, Joe Smith, and many others. Meeting BLDSA medical advisor, Dr. Hiram Baddeley, and learning of his hypothermia studies was my first practical encounter with biomedical research. My first encounters with channel swimming and their camaraderie were in 1960, while accompanying Peter Ferguson on a training swim in Dover. The CSA secretary, Mr. Woods, welcomed me as a potential observer, and I saw Montserrat Terceras give up her Friday 13th spot to Peter. In 1972, we moved to Canada, and 6 years later, I met Canadian swimmer and administrator Bob Weir, who recruited me to become treasurer of Solo Swims of Ontario and to expand my horizons to Canadian and American lakes. It was through SSO that I became friends with the untiring Marilyn Bell. Also, via Madhu Nagaraja, I met Lynn Cox in 2005, who interestingly had met my wife's cousins during her swim to Antarctica in 2002. My 2002 channel effort involved a stay with Evelyn and David Francescu at their swimmer-friendly Varn Ridge Park, where I met Christoph Wondrach and his German film crew, and renewed 1960s friendships with Montserrat Terceras and CSA President Sonny Lowry. Ours is an international sport that relies upon its administrators for its continued success. Embracing technology for organization and safety can include GPS, cell phone and other trackers, drones, and especially comprehensive, reliable, user-friendly databases. Then the Rottnest swims come to mind. The swimmers require administrators, so do administrators bloom with the support of role models, mentors, colleagues, and especially family. Thank you to Helen, Graham, Pauline, and Alison, and others who may be tuned in today from the USA, UK, Australia, and Canada. I'm proud of my British and Canadian backgrounds in both swimming and medical engineering. And today, I'm truly proud to represent Canada in receipt of this international award. Many thanks to the Hall of Fame in this recognition of administrators within our great sport of marathon swimming. Beth, Melissa, Ned, and all the volunteers who provide an annual review of the amazing biographies of our potential honorees. Thanks to all of you.
From Germany, and I won a few races in open water swimming, 5K, 10K, and 25K, 12 times world champion, and 2 Olympic medals in Beijing and in London. But what I'm talking about right now is introducing Spiridos Giannodis. We swam together several years in open water and even before in the pool. The first time we met in open water, I remember, saw his name on the starting list was 2007 at the 5K World Championships in Melbourne, Australia. And I knew Spiros before from the Olympics 2004 in the swimming pool because he was quite a good pool swimmer and very quick and fast in the 1500 and also in the 400 freestyle. So at that time, 2007, when I saw him on the starting list, I knew exactly that this guy can probably be a good opponent to me, and it will be very tough to beat him. And of course, that was the truth. Since 2007 until the end of my career in 2015, we raced each other against each other very often, 5K and 10K, and in every race he competed, it was really tough race. He's quite such a good fighter and has such good endurance performance. And of course, yeah, he has definitely the talent to swim in the open water. He has a quite good technique and he was very above the water, and I always ask myself how he can swim like this. It looks so light. And we raced each other, I don't know how often, but several times. Of course, he also beat me. He beat me very often at the World Championships at the 10 kilometers because he also was very fast at the finish and he could accelerate the last K very quick. But at the end, he was an opponent when we fought against each other during the race. I was also happy when he won the gold medal because he was a fair sportsman. He never swam unfair during the race. And of course, he was a quite cool guy. And sometimes we listen to the same music, then it was Ramones. So he has also a quite good taste in music. I was always looking forward to meet him. He's a truly fair sportsman. And every time, yeah, when he won a race, I was happy because, yeah, he deserved the win and the title. And at the end, yeah, we were friends until now. Sometimes even we ride each other and we race so often together. And that shows that the sport in general is such a quite good story because during the race, of course, we were opponents. From the start to the finish, we fight like hell. But afterwards, we were really good friends. And he's quite a good person, a very good person, very fair. And of course, you could also have a lot of fun with him beside the swimming pool and beside the trainings. And we traveled together around the world. And he was definitely one of the best open water swimmers in history ever. So I wish him all the best in the future. And yeah, I'm very happy that he's also in the Swimming Hall of Fame and he deserves it quite well. He stands for open water. He stands for endurance swimming and he's the best in the world. So all the best. And goodbye from Germany, Thomas.
Hi, it's an honor to be in the Hall of Fame swimming, of marathon swimming, of course. It was something that we all really wanted to do close up in the US and New York. It was on May 1st, 2020. The pandemic is made everything upside down, and the most important is to have a health, of course. I really, when you announced me that I will be in the Hall of Fame of 2020, it just made me so goosebumps, and it was just a wonderful feeling. Of course, I thank Thomas Lutz for his introduction. He's an athlete that I swam so many years, and we had the competition between us made us better athletes and stronger friendship, and this is the most important in sport, friendship, and making you a better person. So thank you, Thomas. Of course, and the next nomination, even if I am nominated, I will be, and I want to be. So I want to see all the experience of the nomination. I'm really, as I said, happy. You know, this is something that makes you, after I stopped on 2016 after Rio, and it's one of the most important nominations that I've ever had, and it's something that I will tell my son when he grows up, that your dad swam all over the world and he's in the Hall of Fame. And you know, talking with my fellow Greeks, and they know about the nomination, it's something that it makes him really happy, and of course making my fellow Greeks happy makes me even more happier. So thank you all for this nomination. I hope next year will be a really good nomination, and everybody together and not by this Zoom meeting. But thank you again, and hope all the best.
Martina Grimaldi, honor swimmer 2018 of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame, and it's my pleasure to introduce Massimo Giuliani, Italy Honor Coach 2020. Massimo became one of the youngest qualified swimming coaches in Italy in 1985. In 1995, he became the Italian open water swimming team manager, a role he still holds. Under Massimo guidance and leadership, Italy has become a powerhouse of modern open water swimming, winning 17 gold, 17 silver, and 19 bronze medals at major international open water events. I had the pleasure to join the Italian open water swimming team when I was 16, and I took part to the European Junior Championship in Bled 2005. I entered a very close-knit team where professionality, commitment, and brotherhood spirit were perceived I remember Marco Formentini, Simone Ercoli, Valerio Cleri, all Italian big swimmer that took me so young under their wings. And I grew up together with them and following their example. My international career has been very long, more than 10 years, and I hope I succeed with my victories and my example in helping Massimo to make Italian team stronger and stronger, and repaying him everything he has done for the Italian team and for me. I am still training and competing, and the pleasure I feel every day when I enter the swimming pool and dive into the water is thanks to the beautiful experience that Massimo allowed me to live. So Massimo, thank you so much for the gift you gave me and the international swimming world. Finally, Massimo, he is also an expert in water safety for open water events and life saving, and his trust for knowledge led him to host teams for all over the world to learn and share knowledge. Now it's time to welcome Massimo Giuliani, Italy, Honor Coach 2020, into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame.
Thanks to Martina Grimaldi, my inductee, one of the better from my swimmers, and my friend of long standing, and especially thanks to all the great family of IMSHOF. First of all, let me express the great joy and the great gratitude with which I received this news and privilege to be part of the historical International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame family. When the news appeared on social media, in the press, I received dozens of congratulatory emails and phone calls. My federation, the Italian Swimming Federation, has dedicated special articles. My family were very, very happy. Moreover, and this is something that perhaps not many people know, a well-known local magazine, Costa Etrusca, named me Personality of the Year, combining the importance of this award received with my past role as administrator as mayor of Piombino. The words of Martina deeply touched me. Martina won the first Italian medal in the discipline at the Olympics in London 2012, and many others both in the world and Europe. So talent, training, technique, tactical intelligence made her the perfect swimmer. In addition to this, she knew how to be next to her teammates in the water and out of the water. Thanks, Martina. I'm delighted also to be able to see many of the international heroes of this sport. I'm also pleased to note that I know among now the nine honorary coaches and maybe the first Italian. I'm also very happy to find the Dick Campion here. In 1987, I entered the wonderful world of open water. In my career, the athletes that I have followed, together with the irreplaceable work of the club work coaches, have achieved numerous successes, both individually and as a team, as you have read or have already so generously remembered. All of them have given me a lot. I have tried to accompany them not only in their preparation, but also often in the problems of their lives. And I have always tried to explain my choice to them. In the coming years, in agreement with my federation, I will dedicate a lot of my time to try training coaches in an increasingly specific way for open water. And I have personal news for you all. I'm writing 2 books on open water swimming. I hope we'll see the lights on. I'm asked to say thanks to my family, my wife Larissa, my daughter Martina, and my parents who are no longer with us, but who were present at the decisive moment in my career. I wanted to thank all the members who have alternated over the years in my teams, and obviously to my last team, and so my vice, Valerio Fusco, Dr. Sergio Crescenzi, Girelli, Dr. Polani, Stefano Rubaudo, and a special thanks to the coordinator of all the competitive sector of the Italian Swimming Federation, Dr. Marco Bonifazzi. I want to remember also the 2 historic managers of this sector in Italy that unfortunately are dead. Dr. Pierluigi Pellegrini, who first placed his trust in me, and Dr. Torre Montella. And after this, thanks to Amber Ronzoni, Andrea Breyer, and Samuel Gritham for the advice they give me. Finally, the Finn, which for me represent the second family, and the president, Paolo Varelli, also vice president Fina and president Glenn, for having believed among the first in this sport and having put us in the best condition to do our best job and thus obtain this exceptional result. I would also like to thank the many organizers, and by the way, by my greetings to Luciano Cotena, who often, with a lot of sacrifice and risk, organize events that allow our world to live and our athletes to compete. Because, and this is a motto that I coined especially for my Italian national team, to say there is no success without the others. I must acknowledge my debt to International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame for everything they are doing, and of course, to all watching this event. Thank you.
Welcome organizers of the IJsselmeer Zwemmarathon, the premier marathon swim of the Netherlands. As you may know, most inductions involve swimmers. Your induction is as an honor contributor. Your major contribution you gave is giving all those swimmers the stage for an exciting swim, live out their dreams and accomplish great feats. The start of the swim is in Staveren and ends in Medemblik. The start is at the harbor entrance just parallel to the former fish auction, and the finish is 21 kilometers southwest at the harbor wall of the fish auction in Medemblik. So it's a fish auction to fish auction swim. The auctions aren't used anymore, but they're just good landmarks. The difficulty of the swim is relatively high because of the rarely calm water. The Netherlands is a windy country. The lake is about 1.5 to 5 meters deep. This results in other circumstances than usual in the sea or in deep lakes. The waves are very choppy and short. The finish wall is exactly in front of the pub, formerly owned by Cor Brakeboer and is currently owned by his son Jack Brakeboer. The pub is called Muziekcafé Brakeboer. The first swims that were successful were across the Zuiderzee, before it was dammed in 1932. In the modern era, it was Swimming Hall of Fame inductee Jan van Schijndel in 1969 who tried first. It was as preparation to his English Channel swim. He swam under horrible conditions from Staveren to Medemblik. This impressed the locals so much they wanted to have the race to repeat his feat. They organized the swim today, even now, with the swimming team that Jan van Schijndel was training at, that is Swim Team Des from The Hague. The race became an annual tradition in early August. In its most recent edition, it was organized by Jack Brakeboer, Rob Nannes, Cor de Bruin, who is sadly passed away later in that year, Ruti and Kees Brebaert, together with Robert van Vuren as referee. They are the organizing committee. This team steered a well-oiled organization of at least 50 people. I think it may be much more than that. The event was actually modeled after the channel races of the 1950s and 60s. In 2019, it was the 50th time for the race. Due to COVID-19, the event, the 51st event in 2020 was postponed and eventually cancelled. If you look at the event, the event has up to 25 athletes participating. Each swimmer has his own coach on a separate pilot boat with an observer. The Café Brakeboer, the pub of Jack Brakeboer, has become the epicenter of the marathon swimming in the Netherlands. This is also due to the effort of Jack Brakeboer and his team to provide accommodations for the athletes and the coaches, as well as a final dinner after the race. The International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame wishes to congratulate all of the team of organizers of the present day. IJsselmeer is now joining other honor organizations in the Swimming Hall of Fame as the Channel Swimming Association, Channel Swimming and Piloting Federation, the British Long Distance Swimming Association, the Irish, the Jersey, Catalina Channel, Rottnest Channel, Faroes Marathon, Lac Saint-Jean, and the Gibraltar Straits Swimming Association. Good company. And in 2021, Capri Napoli. Welcome to the Swimming Hall of Fame.
On behalf of all the members of our organization, that we are very surprised and feel very proud by this honor. Also, we want to thank Richard Brewer for introducing us to win this award. For all the people, volunteers and sponsors who were and involved in our marathon for the past 50 years, we have to say thank you for your support. Long distance open water swimming is one of the toughest sports. Therefore, the swimmer has to face the elements of nature like cold, wind, waves, and sunburn. The goal of our marathon has always been the promotion of long distance open water swimming by creating the facilities to cross the 25th kilometers of the IJsselmeer. For many years, we have been the official international open Dutch marathon swimming championships, of which we are very proud. We are also the longest swim competition in Holland, over 50 years. Personally, I have a lot of sentiment in this marathon because I swam and succeeded 8 times in the 70s. We have also a swimmer called Joost Kuilaerts, who we call the King of the IJsselmeer after his 20th crossing. By the women is Irene van der Laan, with her 17 crossings, our queen. Our marathon has been the springboard to the top. Examples are Edith van Dijk, 5 times world champion, Maarten van der Weijden and Ferry Weertman, both gold medalists, and also our record holder Marcel Schouten. Of course, many thanks to Swim Club Des from Den Haag for their official contribution of the marathon organization. They have also been essential to our existence. Finally, we would like to thank IMSHOF, especially Ned Dennison, who experienced the fantastic IJsselmeer crossing in 2014. And a message to all, keep on swimming, because long distance swimming in open water gives you health, strength, and positive inspiration in your life. Thank you all. I love you. Thank you.
I am from Germany and a former 25K FINA world champion. It is my pleasure to introduce Esther Núñez Moreira from Spain to be inducted as an honor swimmer into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. After Esther started her international open water swimming career at the World Championships in Barcelona in 2003, I first met her in 2004 at the very traditional Santa Fe Coronda race in Argentina. It did not take long for us to become friends. Always joining us in our close group of friends was Damian Blaum, who Esther would get married to in 2010. The 3 of us share so many good memories I would never want to miss. And I am grateful for every one of it. Both of them were definitely a big motive for me to look forward to our many joint World Cup races and enjoy them as much as possible. Esther and Damian would always make me laugh quickly after every race, even if it was completed with disappointment or physical and emotional suffering. With Esther, I could live one thing I never achieved myself. I tried several times to win one of the most important and toughest races on the circuit, the lake crossing in Lac Saint-Jean in Canada, but I always failed. As much as I would struggle with the cold water, Esther would be a lot tougher. I had the honor to coach Esther in a few of her races, and I got to do it in the 2007 edition of the Lac Saint-Jean crossing of 32K. I will never forget how we entered the harbor at the finish line with all those people cheering for Esther, who would win this race with a comfortable lead. I was moved to tears and so proud of her, of my swimmer. Winning this race was, of course, not the only success Esther would achieve in her long and impressive career. Esther won 2 majors, the 2007 and 2012 FINA Grand Prix Series. She competed in over 80 professional races between 2003 and 2016, at distances ranging from 15K to 88K. She achieved podium places incredibly in more than half of these races. To give one more example, besides winning the mentioned Traversée du Lac Saint-Jean, she also won the longest of all races, the 88K Marathon Hernandarias Paraná in Argentina. In the FINA Open Water Swimming Grand Prix Series, she was also second in 2010, 2011, 2013, and third in 2014 and 2015. Esther is also an important representative for Catalonia. She is the first Catalonian swimmer who won a World Cup in open water swimming. After her retirement, Esther has coached several professional swimmers. She is still working as a coach and gives clinics and speeches to let others have a part of her knowledge and strength. Besides that, Esther keeps supporting her husband, Damian, in his ongoing open water swimming career and is a mom to her and Damian's 2 beautiful kids, living half of the year in Argentina and half of the year in her hometown, Sabadell in Catalonia. I am happy to still be close to Esther and Damian after all these years, and I'm even happier for this moment I am able to share. I now welcome Esther Núñez Moreira, Spain, as an honor swimmer into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame.
Buenas tardes a todos y a todas los presentes. Muchas gracias a la organización International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame por el reconocimiento, por dejarme formar parte y también gracias por darme la oportunidad de hablar hoy. Gracias, Brita, por tus palabras. Me emociona escucharte y me remonta a los tantos y tantos momentos vividos juntas. Que tú hables de mí hoy significa mucho para mí. Las personas no somos estables, vivimos en constante transformación y eso me lo ha enseñado la natación. Yo sigo siendo Esther, esa niña tímida que entraba a la piscina de la mano de su madre, observando y tratando de aprender de cada paso y de cada persona. En el camino hubo de todo, alegría, tristeza, bronca, victoria, llantos, dolor, pasión, mucha pasión y un cambio constante para alcanzar siempre mi mejor versión. Hace ya varios años que le estoy dando un cierre a mi carrera deportiva y cada vez que trato de hacer balance llego al mismo punto. Satisfacción es lo que siento. Fueron un poco más de 30 años dedicados al deporte y a mi formación. Gané muchas carreras y no lo hice en otras tantas, pero encontré en el camino recorrido lo mejor de mi vida. Grandes amigos, mi pareja, compañero de vida y mi familia. Siento que a pesar de ser un deporte individual, nunca he transitado sola. Siempre hubo alguien a mi lado, aunque con el tiempo me di cuenta de eso y a veces no fui capaz de agradecer lo suficiente. Así que ahora me voy a tomar el tiempo para hacerlo. A mis padres que en el silencio y el dejarme hacer me educaron para ser una persona luchadora, fuerte y a veces también un poco fría. Gracias. A mi hermano que supo estar cuando más lo necesitaba. Siempre sabe leer entre líneas. Gracias. A mis entrenadores que supieron sacar lo mejor y peor de mí. 2 de ellos ya no están entre nosotros y siento que las gracias llegan tarde. Gracias. A mi club que confió y me brindó todo para poder ir a por mi sueño, la Copa del Mundo de Maratones Acuáticas. Gracias. Y a Damián, mi guía, mi sostén, gracias por tanto. A mis hijos que me acompañan en el día a día y hoy pueden verme hablar de mi pasado y mi historia. Gracias, os amo.
My name is Beth Udovan. I'm a member of the executive committee of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. My late husband, David Udovan, was an honor open swimmer. Today, I have the honor of introducing class of 2020 honor swimmer, Walter Paynish. Walter began his swimming career late in life. He was 50 years old when he started his first race, which he did not complete, but he found a new passion, and his passion was long distance swimming. Shortly after he began this swimming career of his, in 1963, the United States was in the middle of the Cuban Missile Crisis. This was when Russia brought missiles to Cuba and pointed them at the United States. Walter wanted to make a political statement. He wanted to do a swim between the two countries, Cuba and the United States, and he wanted to call the swim Swim for Peace. He was not granted permission to do this at that time, so he began a promotional campaign to obtain national media recognition of himself. He did several fantastic swims. In 1972, he swam from just outside Cuban waters towards the United States. He got 90 miles into the swim when his shark cage was demolished by sharks. Then in 1976, he swam in Florida waters 122.5 miles, which set a record for the world's longest swim, and that's in the Guinness Book of World Records. In all of these swims, his wife, Faye, was by his side and was his biggest supporter. Finally, in 1978, Cuba granted him permission to swim. And on Walter's 65th birthday, he did the ultimate swim from Cuba to Florida. He was the first person to do this incredible feat. Before he started the swim, Fidel Castro, the president of Cuba, came to him, toasted him, and wished him good luck on the swim. The 34-hour swim was accomplished, and this was the culmination of a 15-year dream of Walter's to be the first person to swim this channel. There was much fanfare after the swim, and Walter was likened to Sir Edmund Hillary, who was the first person to climb Mount Everest, which has been done several times since. But swimming the Cuba-Florida channel again remains a challenge to swimmers for future generations. In 2017, the International Swimming Hall of Fame honored Walter's legacy as honor pioneer open water swimmer. And now in the class of 2020, we, the IMSHOF, honor his legacy as an honor swimmer. We have asked his wife, Faye Paynish, to accept the award in his honor. Congratulations to Walter Paynish for his amazing accomplishment. Thank you.
And thank you and Ned Dennison and one and all who had a part in Walter's induction into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. Congratulations to all inductees and to my Walter. It is with honor and humility that I speak on behalf of my husband, and I am sad that he is not here to speak for himself. Walter admired and kept files on many marathon swimmers, one of whom was Lynn Cox, whom he held in highest esteem. He admired and supported our Columbus hometown girl, Tina Bischoff, and when Walter died, she sent him flowers and a card, a great long-distance swimming champion. God bless Tina Bischoff. I do not believe Walter realized the impact that he had on other people's lives. He was a lifetime member of St. Paul's Evangelical Lutheran Church, and Pastor Michael Nitz was a pastor of ours for many years. And 6 years after Walter died, he wrote to me and told me the impact that Walter had had on him personally and on his ministry. And he said Walter's legacy was that even with his health failing, he showed his faith in Jesus Christ, and it was still being used to bring others to our Lord. Walter was a man of tremendous faith, and he loved to speak to children. He often spoke from kindergarten to 12th grade classes, sports camps, athletic groups, churches, and various functions. And always he would receive cards of their interpretations of his swim, their thoughts of him, and a thank you for words of encouragement. Tessa, a 10-year-old fifth grader, after she met Walter, wrote to him, I wish I could have met you when I am older, because I would like to remember you more. I wish each of you could have met Walter so that you would remember him more. On behalf of my husband and his family and my family and all who knew and loved him, I thank you.
Hello, my name is Attila Manyoki, honor swimmer from Hungary since 2016. It is my pleasure to introduce Eva Risto from Hungary as the honor swimmer to the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. As a Hungarian, as a swimmer, I've always watched her career. I remember a TV interview with her when she was a kid. Her dream was to be an Olympian and an Olympian champion. Her journey was very difficult. She officially retired from the swimming in 2005 and spent 4 years in the public sector. She returned as an open water swimmer in 2009 and to pursue her dream. In addition to the open water, she continued her career in the pool too. Well, she won a major event, the Olympic gold medal in London in 2012. In 2012, London Summer Olympics in the 10K open water swim, leading almost the way in the race, leading with several body lengths for a long time, and she became an Olympic champion in a huge fight in the last meters. In 2011, she won a silver medal at the 10K World Cup in Cancun in Mexico, finished second at the open water Olympic qualifying competition in Setúbal in June in 2012. In 2013, she won the European Open Water Cup event in Balatonfüred. At the European Championship on 2014, with a huge finish in the 10K, she finished in the second place, winning another silver medal in Berlin, 12 years after her first European Championship silver medal in Berlin. Received numerous athlete awards from international and Hungarian side. Best female open water swimmer of the year at the FINA in 2012, and also in 2012 European Open Water Swimmer of the Year, Hungarian Athlete of the Year, Hungarian Swimmer of the Year. She was also recognized in her country with the highest civilian honors, Officers Cross of the Hungarian Order of Merit, Silver Cross of Merit of the Republic of Hungary. She also achieved outstanding results in the pool, 3 times World Championship silver medal, 7-time European Championship silver medal, single European Championship bronze medal, 6-time short track European champion, and more than 50 times Hungarian national champion. I now welcome Eva Risto of Hungary as an honor swimmer into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. I'm so very happy. Nagyon szépen köszönöm a díjat, nagyon örülök, és azt gondolom, hogy egy sportoló életében ez a legnagyobb dolog, ami történhet, hogy egy ilyen csapat közé tartozhatok, és óriási megtiszteltetés, és nagyon szépen köszönöm. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lewis Pugh. I'm an endurance swimmer and the United Nations patron of the oceans. Over a period of 35 years, I've seen our oceans change dramatically. Three things have come together to create a perfect storm: climate change, overfishing, and plastic pollution. Our next inductee has worked tirelessly to build the sport of open water swimming and also to protect our precious oceans. As he says, those of us who use the oceans, swimmers, kayakers, paddlers, divers, sailors, we have a special responsibility to protect the oceans and all the magnificent wildlife that live in our oceans. Now, Doug Woodring, he hails from California, but he lives in Hong Kong. In 2010, he formed the ocean charity Ocean Recovery. They work tirelessly now to tackle the scourge of plastic pollution. They educate the public and they work with governments and businesses to find solutions to keep our waters clean. He's also created a very large open water swimming community in Hong Kong to spearhead this movement. He's also created some of the longest swims in Asia: the Clean Half, the Cold Half, and the Sheko Challenge. And in 2009, the United Nations appointed him as a climate hero. And so it gives me great honour and privilege to welcome Doug Woodring as an honour administrator into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. Doug, congratulations.
Great introduction. I'm sitting here in Hong Kong. I wish I was live to be receiving this amazing award. I never expected to get it, but I really have to thank Steve Munatonis and Ned Dennison and the whole swimming community who I've been around my whole life. UC Berkeley, my high school coach, as we called him, Papa Gorick. Of course, my parents and the water. I live in a place where there's a lot of islands. It's warm most of the year, but there weren't a lot of open water swims in Asia. When I got here, I've been living here 25 years. And one of the couple things that really motivated me to do this were, one, the lack of good open water challenges here, but two, the amazing beauty of the coastline and the rocks and the islands of Hong Kong and the warm water. And the other angle was the pollution. Sadly, there is a bit of pollution in this part of the world in the water. The scariest thing that can ever happen to you, aside from a real shark, is when you're swimming at a great pace through the ocean and a plastic bag comes right into your face. And you really do think that it's a big animal with teeth. So one of our races we had called the Clean Half. That's because it's the clean half of Hong Kong Island. And we know that based on the winds, every 6 months it changes. So 6 months of the year, half of the side is better than the other half and vice versa. And so we've been running races here for 15 years, some of the longest marathon swims in Asia, which are both solo and relays. Ned's done 2 of them and had records in both. The cold half is for the cold water swimmers who want to train for something like the English Channel and other big channel races. And the clean half, which is more of a warm water race. But it was the first time any relay races have been done in Asia. And I got inspired from that, from the Maui Channel crossing. I said, wow, how great is it to be swimming with 5 or 6 people on a team over 10 miles instead of just one. And it became a whole social event. We even created the world's first carbon neutral swim race, where we use 6-man outrigger canoes as the support boat instead of a smelly motorboat. And some of you who swim behind the fumes of motorboats would know what I'm talking about. So, you know, the swimming world has brought so much to me and people around me and the people I've met. And what we've been trying to do with the NGO that I have run for more than 10 years, Ocean Recovery Alliance, is to bring the swimmers and the athletes who use the water, who like to train and compete and recreate in the water, to help spread the message. We're at the front line of seeing whether the water is clean or not clean. And so through sports, we can convey that message to the rest of our peers and friends and family in the cities who don't get to see it so much, and hopefully be the ambassadors for protecting the ocean. So I think there's a huge angle for bringing sports and the environment together. And the more we can do that, the better. So it's not for, Steve really supported us on our swims in Asia the whole time and always wrote about them. And that got other people around the world to know about our races. And we've had people from probably 15 different countries coming to do some of these swims, and a lot of local swimmers. Obviously, once open water swimming became an Olympic sport in the Beijing Olympics, it brought a lot of local talent into the ocean, which didn't used to exist, because people used to think, the grandparents and the parents would say, oh, the water's too dirty, there's too many sharks out there, you can't go in. They'd never let their kids go in the open water. And that's changing now. So, if it's not for events like this with the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame to give recognition to the racers and the organizers and the competitors and the friends and family, that really helps to propagate the whole sport for all of us. So thank you so much for choosing me. And I hope that we can all meet together very soon in the water, under the water, above the water, doesn't matter. Maybe at the next event for the next Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame conference. And hopefully we'll see some of you at some of our races in Asia. Thank you.
It brings me great joy to present Sid Cassidy, the preeminent man in the sport of marathon swimming, known as Mr. Open Water. Congratulations, Sid, on this award. A lifetime devotion to marathon swimming, certainly a long career from elite swimmer to leader. When we first met in Canada on the world circuit, who would have thought that we'd be working together to have open water accepted as an equal aquatic discipline? Your enthusiasm and drive those early days, that open water swimming was bigger worldwide than anyone could imagine, was just unfounded. That open water swimming was bigger. This took place with Dennis Miller, the three amigos, you, Dennis, and myself. we decided we would get a plan to have the marathon swim put into the Olympic Games. A number of times we met in different places around the world, and we both had equivalent roles with USA Swimming and Australia, and our meetings sometimes at the World Championships and World Cups at different venues were quite enthusiastic, but always with the thought of improving the open water discipline right around the world, and having, in the end, we'll get into the principal sporting event in the world, the Olympic Games. Your knowledge of marathon swimming is unsurpassed internationally and at grassroots level. I need to just look at my notes here and just record some of the exceptional things that Sid has done. He was an elite swimmer on the marathon swimming circuit, coach and leader of USA national teams, chairman and USA representative on FINA, world educator, a technical official, national award winner in Swimming USA, motivator extraordinaire, and numerous other roles and committees at state and national level. Sid was the senior negotiator and the driver of having the Olympic marathon swim included into the Beijing Olympic Games. Sid, all marathon swimmers around the world owe that to you. Our days of fun and friendship leave many tales to tell, too many for tonight, we'll keep them secret. However, there were many. I cherish having known you and witnessed what you have brought to the world of marathon swimming. Always with the athlete in mind, your mastery at the sport has brought you to the top worldwide. We as a sport have benefited from your sacrifice and contribution. You are indeed a worthy recipient of this award. What a career, Sid. Good night.
I'd like to thank my good friend, Chris Gusden. Chris, it's been too long since I've seen you, but thank you for those kind words, and certainly following in the footsteps of yours and others to receive this award is something very, very special to me. You know, I've been very blessed in this world of open water swimming to know people like you, of course, our good friend who passed recently, you know, another winner, you know, Dennis Miller is when I see Chris, I always think of Dennis and the triumvirate of the late 90s, three young bucks in the FINA technical committee. We were the youngest three guys in all of FINA back then. And yeah, even Gusden was young then. And boy, we learned a lot since the 90s, I'll tell you. But for all of you out there that are involved with this award ceremony, I do want to say how special it is to be thought of in the same light as some of the greats. And, you know, certainly the people on the executive directors positions here. And I think of what Ned and Mel and the people have done for this organization over the last couple of years, certainly teaming up with Steve and making this just, in my mind, the strongest arm of all of the International Hall of Fame's various sports, and certainly because we are the most challenging event, it's only appropriate that we are the strongest. And ever since they started holding these ceremonies, you know, I can remember Dale Petronic driving his car down, you know, from New Jersey to Fort Lauderdale every year, and how he held this group together. And God rest his soul, he's certainly been somebody on my mind this year. We all go through a lot every year. And this year, going through what we all have with this COVID challenge, I'm just really thankful to have my aquatic family, you all, you people, you ones in open water that really understand what the challenge is all about. And it's not about how fast you can cross the channel or how soon you can finish the 5K or if you get on the podium. It's really about the family of aquatics. It's about the people that are willing to just get into the water and better themselves every day. You know, to be out there, to be a coach, to be an administrator like this award represents means a lot to me, because I always thought of myself as more of a wet side guy. And then when I look back on my career, I said, well, I've done a good bit on the dry side too. And, you know, with that in mind, I really just want to thank the committee and thank all of you involved, you know, following in the footsteps of the greats. It's humbling. So I acknowledge and gratefully receive this award and thank you all very much.
Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael Reed, and I'm an inductee of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame way back in 1978 for open water swimming. And I'm an honor swimmer inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame in 2012. I have served on the administration board of the Channel Swimming Association since 1974 and became its association president in 2007. But that's enough about me. Let me tell you about the International Swimming Hall of Fame Poseidon Award. This award, instituted in 2013, is presented when a worthy candidate is brought to the attention of the hall. It recognizes high-level achievement from an organization or from personal effort and initiative in the field of endeavor that contributes to the performance of marathon swimmers or the development and status of marathon swimming across the world. So, as you will appreciate, it's not given away lightly and looks for candidates who've made and are leaving a substantial footprint in the sport of marathon swimming. And it's my very great pleasure to present this award for 2020 to Petr Stoychev, a swimmer who more than adequately fills the criteria for qualifying for this award. Not only is his personal swimming ability absolutely exceptional, but his achievements in our sport have been little short of phenomenal. He has won an unprecedented 11 consecutive FINA open water swimming Grand Prix titles. Then, to add to that, his contribution to others is also noted. He has given back to our sport, and we have an extremely well qualified and deserving candidate. He has served as a swimming administrator, a coach, and he's done that for the last 10 years. From 2009 to 2017, he served on the FINA Athletics Committee. In 2013, he served as sports minister in Bulgaria and as a board member of the International Ice Swimming Association, coaching other professional swimmers and as a team manager for his club Levski. Petr, it's my very great pleasure to present you with the Poseidon Award for 2020. It's very well deserved.
Good evening, everybody. Mike, thank you for your introduction. It's a great honor for me to be here with you and to share my feelings about this Poseidon Award. being the first Bulgarian in the Swimming Hall of Fame, inducted in Swimming Hall of Fame, inducted in the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame, and now receiving the Poseidon Award. It's giving me a great honor to represent my country in such a great event and such a great ceremony. Allow me to use this opportunity to thanks to all my coaches in my swimming career. The first one which teach me to swim through all the years in my school, university, of course, my coach in Germany. I spent a couple of years out of my country with Stefan Lurz, and my coach, which I finish my swimming career, Mr. Krasimir Tumanov here in Sofia. Of course, I would like to thanks to my family for all those years support, to my parents. It's actually honor for not only for me, but for all of my friends and all of my teammates to be here with you tonight and to receive this award. Without all organizers around the globe, which have organized so many competitions for us, I will never be the one you know me, the successful swimmer. That's why I would like to thanks to all the marathon swimming events organizers tonight, the one in Argentina, in Brazil, the one in Canada, United States, the one in Africa, in Egypt, the one in Europe, of course, in Asia as well. And here I would like to just express my warm feelings to all of them. I would like to thanks to FINA, the International Federation, for supporting this discipline and giving us opportunity to be part of the Olympic Games. And of course, Bulgarian Swimming Federation staying all those years behind me, and my club, Swimming Club Levski, which was my last club in my career. Would like also to congratulate the other persons tonight inducted in the Hall of Fame. Damian Blaum, which I have been racing with him from Argentina. His lovely wife, Esther Nunes Moreira from Spain. Also, we have been swimming together with her. Excellent swimmer from my neighbor country, Greece, Spiridon Yaniotis. Of course, Olympic medalist. Congratulations. And Captain El Shazli from Egypt. I remember my first swim in Egypt. He was one of the main person there, one of the organizers of the events. Sid Cassidy, a great person. I have been working with him in FINA. And to all of you in International Swimming Hall of Fame, giving us opportunity to be part of this ceremony, for the people who elected me as to receive this Poseidon Award. From deepness of my heart, thank you, all of you, and I hope one day we can be together again.
Dennison, Honor Contributor, Ireland, 2012. I'm also the chairperson of the Executive Committee. It's my pleasure to introduce Beth Udovin, United States of America, as the fourth recipient of the Dale Petronich Award for services to the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. This award was created in 2016 to honor Dale Petronich for decades of service to this organization. As a marathon swimmer, he previously held the Catalina record as the oldest swimmer. He served for nearly 50 years in various capacities at all levels of the sport, local, regional, national, and international. I had the pleasure of first meeting Beth on my swim from Santa Cruz Island in 2006. Her husband, Honoree David Udovin, was the only person to have accomplished that swim 23 years earlier. Let's just say the end of the swim was interesting. I completed it, cleared the water, and 5 minutes later, the ambulance took me directly to the hospital. A week later, I had a chance to sit down in more pleasant surroundings and have a conversation with Beth and David in their home. I learned about their incredible marathon swimming life. For more than 30 years, David was the swimmer and Beth his manager and crew chief. Together, they completed first ever marathon swims in Japan, Mexico, Indonesia, New Zealand, Portugal, and Africa. They also previously established marathon swims in Tahiti, Hawaii, English Channel, Straits of Gibraltar, and Cook Strait. He was the oldest swimmer at age 52. I learned that the 5 years before his Santa Cruz Island swim success, he technically died a few hundred meters from shore on that same beach. You can read about it on page 2 of Lynn Cox's book, Swimming to Antarctica. David and Beth stepped in to reorganize IMSHOF in 2014 when we faced a crisis. They drove fast changes, created a working executive committee, and brought us under the more professional wing of IMSHOF, who also provided legal, tax, and accounting help. David unexpectedly passed away in early 2015, and Beth took over as chairperson, then took over our finances and hosted the 2015 and 2016 ceremonies in California. Beth and I have been joined at the hip for the past 7 years, regular executive committee calls, annual meetings at the annual ceremonies, and hundreds of one-on-one emails and calls. Beth brought class and dignity to the organization, showed masterful diplomatic skills, and kept us heading upmarket, especially with generous contributions, including attending the last 6 ceremonies. Because of her commitment and dedication, the organization is a much better place. This is actually the second time I've done this presentation. Beth, Dale, and I met at IMSHOF ceremonies in May 2019. While it was never discussed, I think Beth and I knew it'd be the last time we'd see Dale due to his health issues. Dale and I surprised Beth with the news and essentially presented the award. It was a special moment then, and it's a special moment now. I now present Beth Udovin with the Dale Petronich Award for services to the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Ned. And I want to especially thank the members of the Executive Committee of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame for selecting me as the Dale Petronich Award winner for 2020. But I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for my late husband, David Udovin. David lived to swim. When I met David in 1983, he said, "If you want to know about me, come with me next weekend. I'm assisting another swimmer on a swim across the Catalina Channel, and you need to see this." So I said, "Sure, I'll come with you." We went to Catalina. I was seasick on the boat the entire time I was on the boat and for a day after I got off the boat. David said, "You'll get used to it." And I did. And for the next 30 years, I lived David's passion of swimming around the world, meeting interesting people, being immersed in different cultures, and promoting swimming and a healthy lifestyle. In 2014, both David and Dale Petronich were being inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame, and the ceremony that year was in Scotland. David and Dale spent a lot of time talking together during that weekend, and Dale asked David if he would take over the chairmanship of the executive committee of the IMSHOF, as Dale was approaching 80 years of age and wanting to step back. David took the reins and set new goals, new strategies, and gave the organization a new vitality. In 2015, David passed away, and I took over the chairmanship and continued David's goals and strategies. I will always support this organization. It is so important to our sport to have a library, a showcase for what you do, an international venue for recognition of your accomplishments. We must continue to support and grow this organization, the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. It is for our legacy, for our future. Please support your local swim clubs and this international organization for our future. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us tonight and being part of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame's first ever virtual induction and award ceremony. In normal times, I'd be raising a glass to toast the class of 2020 and award winners. So well done all and congratulations. Let me also give special thanks to help make this evening possible. Those of you who nominated, inductees, award winners, the introducers, the honorees from earlier classes, IMSHOF Executive Committee members, special thanks to Melissa for video editing, Richard for the booklet creation, Beth for managing the creation, shipment of certificates, sashes, awards, and IMSHOF, especially Laurie, and finally the contribution of honoree and wowza Steve Munatonis, who taped many of these sessions. Please refer to our website, imshof.org, to dive into the history of the sport, including honoree biographies and the booklet for tonight's evening. If you want to be added to our mailing list or connect with an honoree, just ask and we'll forward your request. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. In late 2020, IMSHOF announced a class of 2021 inductees and award winners. We will hold our second virtual conference on 18 September 2021. Please help us. Comment on tonight's event. Give us your suggestions for the next event, either on the website or by email, info@imshof.org. With the expected victory over COVID, we plan to physically meet again in Naples, Italy for the class of 2022 inductees and award ceremony on Saturday, May 7th, 2022. Nominations are open and very welcome. Goodbye, everybody.